Hey everybody. So in my prediction video yesterday about the Ecuador-United States friendly, I said that I thought it was going to end in a draw. And it almost did end in a draw until the 89th minute when Darlington Nagbe broke the deadlock for the Americans. Now, as an American myself, I'm pretty happy that we won, and I hope that the display we put on yesterday is a sign of good things to come in the Copa America tournament, which begins next week. So, good job, Stars and Stripes. Let's keep this up and let's put in our best performance on home soil when the tournament begins this June. So, in this video, I want to just briefly go over another international tournament which begins on Saturday that a lot of people are not aware of, and that is the Oceania OFC Nations Cup, which is also just like the Euros, a tournament which is held every 4 years. It falls in the same year as the Euros, every 4 years, 2012, 2016, 2020, etc. Now, I already made a prediction video a few months ago on, what teams I thought were going to advance from both groups and which team was eventually going to win the Oceania Cup. So, go to my channel, check it out, and let me know what you think. Here, I'm just going to go over some thoughts on the tournament itself and sort of what expectations I have starting this Saturday when it begins. So first, the Oceania tournament is very, very brief. It's only 2 weeks long. That's because only 8 countries, Pacific Island nations, participate in it. And to be honest, Oceania is not the strongest confederation of world football. It's by a substantial margin, it is the weakest. No disrespect. But, teams like Tahiti and Vanuatu and Fiji aren't exactly world powerhouses. But football is football, and international football, all countries deserve respect and recognition. And I thought it would be prudent to bring this up to notify my viewers, my subscribers, that the Oceania Cup is that time again. It's already been 4 years, and it's coming up again in just a couple of days. It's being held in Papua New Guinea for the first time, so the host nation will have a lot of pressure to perform well, at least get to the semifinals. Because of the fact that it's such a short tournament, there's only 2 groups and a semifinal stage, a third-place game, and a final, with 2 teams advancing from both groups. I fully expect New Zealand to win. Now, of course, New Zealand is not guaranteed to triumph always at the Oceania Cup, as we know 4 years ago when Tahiti surprisingly won, and we saw them play at the Confederations Cup in Brazil the year before the World Cup in 2013. But I think New Zealand this time will win it. New Zealand tends to not go more than 2 OFC Cup cycles without winning a title. They're tied with Australia for 4 titles each. Australia, of course, is no longer a member of Oceania since in 2007 they moved to Asia in the AFC, where they've had much more success there with better competition. Australia are currently the Asian champions because they won last year the Asian Cup on home soil for the first time. The only teams that I can really see challenging or potentially challenging New Zealand are New Caledonia, because New Caledonia is one of the stronger island nation squads in the region. They have several players that play in domestic leagues in France. They're very skilled, technical side, and they finished runners-up in each of the last 2 consecutive OFC Nations Cup editions. So maybe New Caledonia can make a 3rd run to the final, maybe win the trophy, surprise New Zealand a bit. They have beaten New Zealand in the past, both in friendlies and in competitions, but they're not a better team than New Zealand. They don't have as much depth as New Zealand does. Another team that could potentially cause an upset is Fiji. Now, Fiji is one of the stronger island nations, along with New Caledonia. And at the youth level, Fiji actually produces some good young players through their programming. And we saw that in the Under 20 World Cup just last summer in New Zealand, where they stunned some more experienced, better teams in their group, like Honduras and Uzbekistan. So Fiji could spring a surprise. They could get to the semifinals, maybe even to the final. But honestly, those are the only two teams I think, other than New Zealand, that have a chance to win. I'm not going to include Tahiti, the defending champions, because their squad now is completely different from the 2012 one. Several of the players have even admitted that their team is not as good as they were 4 years prior. That's not a good sign. Confidence is low in the team. There's a huge influx of new players that have no experience. So I don't think Tahiti will defend their tires. Sorry to the Iron Warriors of Tahiti, the island paradise. Papua New Guinea. I hope Papua New Guinea do well because of the host nation. And they face a lot of pressure, but they just don't have the talent. They just don't have the infrastructure of football, not just for their national team, but in their domestic league as well. They just don't have it. And I think for Oceania as a whole, it's going to take several years, maybe a generation or two, for them to really become a bigger presence of force on the global stage. So, the tournament begins this Saturday, guys, May 28th, in 2 days. Oceania time in Papua New Guinea is way ahead of the U.S., so their matches will begin probably Friday night in Eastern Coast United States time. So way, way ahead. And I'll be, trying to follow that, watching highlights, etc. And FIFA will probably have the results up as well. So we'll see what happens. And the reason this is important, guys, is because the winner of this tournament qualifies to the 2017 FIFA Confederations Cup in Russia, the small mini 8-team tournament, which is the tournament of champions of each continent. We already seen Australia qualify as Asian champions, Chile qualify as South American champions, Mexico as CONCACAF champions, Germany as the world champions, and Russia as the host. So with the addition of New Zealand, we're going to find out the sixth slot of who qualifies and represents the Oceania Nation Confederation. And after this, the only two slots remaining would be the European champion and the African champion, which will be decided next winter in 2017. So this is it for my video. New Zealand should win. There's really no excuse not to. Let me know what you guys think below. Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned for tomorrow when I give a final intake on the Champions League final, which also begins on Saturday between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, the All-Madrid Derby, the rematch of the 2014 final, of which I already made a prediction video, but I'm just going to briefly go over some statistics and my thoughts on what I expect to happen. Peace out.